my name's Linda MacEwan and I'm 4 months on from surgery to remove my kidney and a tumour that was attached to it. My story starts back in July 2015. I was down in Llanberis. We ran the Snowdon race there. I was down with my friends from the athletics team. We ran the race, and at the end of the race my future husband, Brian, got down on one knee on the finish line and proposed to me. This was all caught on camera by Welsh television. It was totally unexpected and fantastic and one of life's highs. 2 days later I turned 50, which was a bit of a shock, and 3 days after that I was in the Belford for just a sort of minor sort of medical problem, totally unconnected with my kidney, but I needed a little ultrasound. And as part of that process, everything was fine with what we thought was a minor problem, but the team found a mass on my kidney and suggested I see my GP as a matter of urgency. Now, I had no symptoms, I was feeling great. I just ran 10 miles up a mountain a couple of days before. Thankfully, my GP managed to see me that day and got me referred to the urology consultant at Raigmore. The consultant requested an ultrasound, so I was sent back to the Belford for that a week or so later. And unfortunately, the images highlighted problems with my lungs and something on my liver. So all of a sudden we go from perhaps looking, we knew there was a tumour on my kidney, but all of a sudden the problem seemed to multiply, and it was a shock. And at that point I didn't think I was going to see Christmas. I got to see the consultant in Raigmore. They cleared my lungs, as there'd been nothing really to worry about there. After seeing the consultant, I was taken by Kathleen Mackenzie through to a room and handed some leaflets, one from Macmillan Nurses and the other from the James Whale Cancer Charity. And to sit there and be handed these leaflets and to suddenly realise you've got cancer was a shock. But I was helped a lot by Kathleen. She was a contact if I needed it. If I had any questions at all, I could email her and she'd be back in touch within a day. If she couldn't answer my question, she got in touch with the consultant and he answered that question for her. I was scheduled to get an MRI scan so that they could get some better images of the liver, and also the kidney, just to help with any surgery that might happen. And the delay, all of a sudden you realise how pressured our National Health Service is, because you have to wait for your slot. So back up to Raigmore towards the end of August for my MRI scan, and thankfully that shows up that there's nothing wrong with the liver, and it makes things slightly more simple, so they're only really looking at the kidney. Mid-September, I get back up to see the consultant again, and we finally have a plan for my treatment. The plan is to remove part of my kidney and the tumour using keyhole surgery. The day after I have seen the consultant, it's my sister's wedding. It was a fantastic day. I was full of relief at having the sort of diagnosis, so you knew where you were going with the kidney cancer, you knew what was going to happen, and you knew the kind of, while you didn't know what the full outcome would be, there was a plan there. Being with family and such a happy day, being with people you love, It was extremely emotional, and sort of trying to keep a lid and not turn up into a sort of bubbling wreck was quite difficult, and I was exhausted by the end of that day, but it was a beautiful day. We have a gap again where you're trying to find out when this surgery is going to take place, and it was scheduled in for the end of October, and this is mid-September. It seemed a heck of a long time. I thankfully have two friends who are GPs. Both have different characters and both helped in different ways of letting me know how the NHS works, and the fact that there is a lot of people to help. It has to help a lot of people, and there is a limit to the resources it has, and it's accepting that and realising that the doctor has a plan. That's sometimes hard to accept, when all you really want is to have this tumour removed as quickly as possible. I found through that waiting time, what really helped was just keeping up with my exercise and getting out and doing things. I found that sort of sitting worrying while my stomach was in knots, while I couldn't eat, and while I was extremely scared, it didn't help it to just sort of sit and worry about it. What helped was to spend time with friends and family and get out and run, and get out, kayak, cycle, and just try and live life as normally as possible. I did yoga, and I found that the relaxation techniques within yoga were really, really helpful as well. And often at work, at lunchtime, I'd just take some time out. I'd take 10 minutes and I'd just go through some yoga breathing, some yoga meditation. And that helped me kind of, instead of let my brain go off and worry about things that I didn't know if they were going to happen, instead of worrying about the worst possible consequences, it would draw me back and centre me again and bring me back to thinking just calmness rather than this sort of panic that can sometimes overtake you. My operation, as I say, was scheduled for the end of October. Went up the day before. We stayed in Inverness overnight. My son's work had very kindly given him compassionate leave, so he was there as well as my partner. My mum and dad were up in Inverness as well. And I get into the morning, we're in at 7:30 in the morning, we're in, tests are done, blood tests are taken, I get my gown, I get my silly stockings on, and I'm sat just waiting for the surgeon to arrive. And this guy I hadn't met before comes and tells me that the surgeon's ill, that he can't operate. And at that point I was devastated. Nobody could tell me when the appointment would be rescheduled for. Nobody could give me any information at all. It was just, get dressed, go back home, the consultant will be in touch. So I was sent home from Raigmore and I was devastated. All I really wanted was for the tumour to be removed. I've been sort of, you psych yourself up to go in for the operation, and to end up going home without anybody being able to tell you when your operation is going to be rescheduled to is just devastating. I did spend a day basically crying and just unconsolable. But at that point I then phoned the Kidney Cancer UK helpline, and and I spoke to a lady there who was fantastic. She was extremely practical. She knew that I was upset, and she managed to just sort of give me some practical advice. She told me to get back onto the hospital, to really push for a date for the operation to be rescheduled to. And she said, she made me laugh, she said, tell them you're not waiting on the delivery of a cooker. This is important. This operation has to go ahead. And I did that. I got back in touch with the hospital, and my operation was rescheduled for early on in November. I was afraid of getting a cold or getting ill, anything that would delay the operation further. It was daft, but I just got this thing in my head that this has to go, my operation has to go ahead the next time. I could not deal with another delay. But I decided, I knew I had to keep active. I couldn't sit at home and sit in a dark space and worry. So I kept going out on the hill, kept going out on my bike, and I'd be with friends in open places, would not be with crowds where there was a chance of picking up a bug. At that point we had a big search going on. I'm part of Mountain Rescue, and so I got out and got involved in that. So we'd be out for the day on a search. The operation went ahead on the 9th of November. Everything went well. The tumour was in an awkward place, so it just made sense for the surgeon, once he could see where things were, he decided to remove the whole of the kidney. And to be honest, I'm quite happy with that. I'm glad they got keyhole surgery. That made my recovery quicker and allowed me to get back to an active life more quickly than had the surgery been sort of different. And I have to say that I'm now starting to, quite quickly, we got walking again. By Christmas I went out for my first run, and I felt good really, really quickly. We're now in March 2016. Next month I get married, and I'm really looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to having all the family back again. Looking forward to that big party with friends and family. And I also have my Snowdon race entry for July 2016, and it's my intention to use that race, to run that race again, and to try to raise money for Kidney Cancer Scotland. I think that when you're going through this, when you first start your journey with kidney cancer, all you want is information. All you want is to, in truth, what you want is for someone to tell you what's going to happen to you. You want almost somebody to predict where you're going to be, and that's not possible. But it's getting good information, it's getting proper information, and having support. So if I can help the charity, if I can help fund that resource so that's there for me, I don't know where my cancer journey is going to go. Everything's very positive. I don't have to see the consultant until November. I think the tumour was low grade. So everything, there's no chemotherapy, no radiotherapy. So everything looks really, really positive. And I'm happy. I know I'll be scared come November, just before I see the consultant. Everything will come back. But I also know that the Kidney Cancer Scotland are there for me. If I need help, if I need support, I know I can call on them. So yeah, if I can help raise some money to help them, that would be excellent.